everybody. It's Peps, and tonight we are doing the 2022 Adelaide Season Preview. And the simple question I have is this. Will it be the year where the Crows just nest themselves at the bottom of the AFL ladder? Or are they hoping to perch themselves a couple of rungs higher? I can't answer that for you, but I've reached out to the wild east or west of Adelaide. We've got Sam, we've got Lauren from Here We Crow. Team, welcome to Lace Out.
Thanks for having us, Peps.
Yeah,
very pleased to be here.
Oh, I am pumped. And can I just say, I've been checking out the iTunes podcasting charts. You're rocketing up there very, very nicely. You must be happy with how things are going so far.
Yeah, we're pretty stoked. We are the new kids on the block when it comes to Crows pods. But, you know, we're all Crows tragics and happen to have some good chemistry between us. So, yeah, it's working out quite nicely.
Now, I know there is another Crows podcast, which I'm happy to mention, the Crows Cast, because I interviewed them last year. What's the point of difference? Why should I turn the dial your way instead of the institution that is the Crows Cast?
Oh, that's a contentious one. We're just going to tell you we're so much better than them.
Hey, I love honesty.
No, not at all. The Crowcaster, they've been stalwarts in the Crows podcasting game for a long time. We love it. I've been an avid listener to them for, God, I think it'll be 10 years now. They're a lot more probably analytical than we are, a bit more sort of nitty-gritty, that side of things. We like to have a bit more fun, maybe poke a bit more fun at our own team as well. So, yeah, that's probably the main difference.
So you're real. You're real.
Well,
that's what it is.
We're realistic.
You don't let the stats tell the story. It comes from the heart. Isn't that what football is all about? It's from the heart. And I can tell just by listening to the both of you, there is a lot of love for the Adelaide Crows at the moment.
Massive love for the Crows, yeah.
So give me the heads up. Give it to me. What do you expect and what do you feel for the Crows in 2022? Just from what you've seen, from what you've heard, what you've read on the Twitter sphere. Give it to me.
If we went by what we've heard and read, we're not going to go very well. But,
okay, so there's your 2022 season preview.
But if we're talking as the Crows tragics that I say we are, I think we do have a lot of hope for the Crows this year. We really are hoping that the rebuild is forming in the Nix era, who we absolutely froth on. We love Nixie, and we think the boys do as well, and I think that is going to elevate us, definitely.
So Lauren, did you say you're frothing on Nixie?
I love Matthew.
It is legit too.
Well, good on him because he's been there 2 years, and let's be honest, it is a rebuild. You only have to look at there's two key metrics that we look at. How many games have they played? How old are they? You're 18th for games played and you're 18th for age. You can't ask for really, there's not much more you can do with that. So it is a genuine rebuild.
Absolutely, yeah.
Patience. Coming from somebody who's seen that many rebuilds over the last number of years. I was trying to find an analogy. Who's had more rebuilds than us? Probably the Queensland flooded areas. They've had more rebuilds. But outside of that, you just got to be patient. And if you be patient, when it all comes in, you're just going to sit back and say, we did the hard yards.
That's it. And we've been patient for about 20 years now. So we're well versed at that.
You thought, 97, 98, how easy is this game? And then nothing. I get it. I get it. Oh, what do you mean 20 years? Hold on, didn't you do something in 2017?
Yeah, we don't remember that.
No, I don't know.
Don't remember that one? No. A bit of a blur.
Yeah.
Nothing really excited happening around there. We had that 217, 218 mark.
No, that's it.
And the Crows have stayed out of the news over the last few years as well too. So not many people outside of Adelaide would know they exist.
Yeah,
pretty well.
Not newsworthy at all.
Yeah.
No news whatsoever. All right. So there's got to be something exciting that's you're looking at for this year. There's got to be some hope. Hope stands for hold on, pain ends. So there's got to be something there for you all. What is it, Sam?
I like that. Sounds very nice.
Glad we're rolling with that.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of hope over the years, and it ended last year. Trust me. What are you liking about them at the moment, Sam? Or what's your feelings towards the team this year?
Look, I think I think we're making a lot of the right steps. After the camp, after 2017, like we just spoke to, we sort of hit rock bottom, I think, or we legitimately hit rock bottom of the ladder. Since then, getting Matthew Nicks in, change of culture, just a change of mindset. The club just seems like a nice place to be now. We're getting players signing on. We're getting players coming to the club, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. It's just, it feels positive. I don't think any of us are sitting here going, we're going to rocket into finals contention this year, but it feels like it's going to be a positive year, even if we don't do that.
I will be totally upfront with you. I have picked you to finish last.
Yeah, we listened.
Okay. I think there's been a few of us that have said that you're going to finish last. But that's not disrespectful. Yeah. It's just somebody has to.
Yeah.
And when I look at your makeup here, look, you've only got 7 players that have played more than 100 games.
Yeah.
Okay. Geelong have got more players over the age of 30 on their lists. All right. Let's put things in perspective here, all right? But if you're a realist and you know Matthew Nicks is the right guy, why do you think he's the right guy, Lauren? Because I can see the smile on your face when I mention Nixie. What's his Nixie? what do you like about him, his style?
You said you've only got half an hour, Peps.
I have got only half an hour. But I do not edit anything here. It's all from the heart.
Well, look, we've obviously had the pleasure of, like Sam said, we've been watching the boys. We watch all the press conferences and things like that, and no one has a bad word to say about Matthew Nicks. I actually have met Matthew Nicks, and I can tell you that in person, he exudes that energy of awesomeness. And
energy?
It's the energy. Oh,
it's the energy.
The smile, Peps, just the smile. I tell you what, like I can see exactly why the boys are getting around him.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it's definitely his attitude towards the game, and he's lucky that he does have a young squad who are going to buy into what he's saying, and I think he's on the right track, and I feel like once whatever our game plan is, when that is in place and the boys have got their head around it, I feel like it's going to be really, really exciting for us.
I will say, from 2021, there were 2 things that you did that surprised the hell out of probably everybody. It happened in round 1 and it happened in round 23. When you beat Geelong, we loved it. Absolutely loved it over here.
We loved it too. Oh my
Dad's
God.
Army copped a flogging. Danger gets weeks. It doesn't get better than that. And then what I have seen what you did last year, you could have tanked in that last round.
Yeah.
Went out, you won. You could have had position 1 or 2 in the draft. You slotted yourselves up to 15th. That to me isn't a team that rests on its laurels. They'll just do whatever they need to do. We'll win if we have to. That's awesomeness, and that's a culture. You can't teach that. And I know there have been other clubs that have just thrown in the towel. How can we almost deliberately lose? Not tanking, manipulate positions to get higher up in the draft. You went, no, we'll play the game to win. That's how we're going to play, and you did it. So.
You mentioned the round 1 Geelong game, and I was there. I'm not sure if Sam was there, but the energy there after the first quarter, like there was a standing ovation in the break because you could feel the energy of the crowd. They absolutely could not believe that this is how the Crows were coming out. Like everyone was kind of in shock and awe, and I feel like that energy carried through to a lot of our wins. I know there wasn't many of them, but the game against Hawthorn, as soon as I got to the ground, there was just this energy in the air, like we knew something was going to happen. We knew that we were going to get it. It was just, I think the belief from the fans is also there, and I think that is what's carrying the boys to want to win and not, like you say, tank.
We also noticed you conveniently left off one of our other major wins last year, Peps.
I can't recall them all. Like I didn't have too many to choose from, Sam. Let's be honest here. We only had 7.
That's true. That is true.
What was the other one? Oh, no, that one. Yeah, that was dodgy. Like you beat Melbourne. I forgot about the Melbourne one, and that wasn't deliberate, but it was dodgy. That should have been our 3, and you can't deny that. But we lost the game. When you, was it 3 goals up with a few minutes to go, you should ice the game. You just beat us. It was awesome. and good. That's what footy is. That's what we love footy.
Yeah.
A lot of that was to do with a certain individual who had his best season in front of goal since the 2017 grand final year, Mr. Walker.
Yep.
Okay. And you could almost say it was his best season in front of goals almost since 2012 when he played 19 games and kicked 63. He had 17 and 48. So he was like, he copped it big time. Is he still going to be able to do it? Is he still going to be able to perform up front? And it was almost like, okay, I'm fitter. He was amazing in those first 3 quarters of the season.
Yeah.
Obviously we know what happened towards the back end. What's the fallout? Because we don't obviously over here in the eastern states hear as much of that. What's the fallout been? What have you heard? Has he been welcomed back into the group? Has he had to sort of bide his time? What's your overall feeling?
Yeah, from what we've been able to tell, he's sort of made his way back into the team and the overall makeup of the side fairly comfortably. Obviously he's going to miss the first, 4 games through suspension, I think. Still, yeah. But as far as I know, he's going to be welcomed back into the side. He's obviously getting on now. I don't think there would have been too many Crows fans who would have been surprised if he called it quits last year, especially when everything went down with the suspension. But I think he's actually going to probably have a bit of an easier time of it this year because he's going to have another player that we're hoping is going to take another step.
Are you talking about the guy's name? If you've got a lisp, it's impossible to say.
That's the one, yes.
Tell us about him. Tell us about him, Sam. Get us excited, and then I'll just get Lauren to talk about Nixie for a bit more.
Look, I don't think you're going to meet any Crows fans that aren't pretty excited about what Thilthorpe is going to be able to do. I'm actually still not entirely sure how to say his name, to be honest. I say Thilthorpe, which is, person with a list.
We just call him Filthy.
Yeah.
Just call him Filthy. That's keep it simple.
He's just just amazingly agile for a guy of his size. His kicking action is absolutely elite. If he can get the ball over between 15 and 20 times a game and anywhere close to goal, he's just going to be an absolute weapon.
And he virtually won his first game off his own boot, didn't he, that game? Was it kicked 4 in his first? Was it 4 or 5 in the first?
I think it was 5.
Kick 5?
Yeah.
He's a big unit. Like, I'm only going by his stats off draftguru.com.au. We're looking at 201 centimetres and 100 kegs.
Yeah.
And he's 19. Well, that's a big unit.
Yeah.
In anyone's language.
He still looks a bit gangly, but he's so strong. And he moves like a player 15 centimetres shorter than him.
Yep.
And by all accounts, one of the most professional in terms of training and what's required in the system. So, for someone who's just come in, that's really, really positive.
Setting the standards, isn't he, Lauren?
He is, yeah.
Do you know who also setting the standards?
Oh, tell me, Peps.
Nixie.
Oh, yeah.
Nixie sets the standards too. I'm just going to rip that one out. Hey, so Brad Crouch did a runner and went over to the Saints. That's worked out well so far.
Changed this week, I heard.
Pardon? Is he?
Not even
named on the field.
Too bad.
That's a shame.
There is one person, though, that you've got that I think a few people over here are a little bit, they are excited about, just from what we've seen, what we've heard. Mr. Josh Rochelle.
The beautiful freak, we like to call him.
The beautiful freak. Why is he the beautiful freak, Lauren? Because from what he's done, he's not huge. He's only 180 and 81 kegs, so he's not massive. He's not small, but there's just something about him. He just knows where the footy is.
He's definitely a medium-sized forward, but yeah, he's come in completely ready. And it was actually our co-host Ben that came up with the beautiful freak. Here's a song.
Yeah, it's an Eels song. Yeah.
Here's a song for Rochelle. And he's quite beautiful, actually, in real life. He's a very tanned Italian man. So I think it's going to be nice to watch.
If you can see the vision whilst I'm doing this, listeners, Lauren is just smiling from ear to ear. I just have to mention any Adelaide player and you watch the smile. I'll just pick somebody at random here. What about Rory Sloane? Like good old Capitan. Has he just got, when I say better, from his leadership capabilities, he's just, the more he's playing, the better he just seems to get.
That's
what I see.
I think that I actually think that Sloaney's probably not going to play a lot of footy this year, to be honest. He is a bruised and battered man.
Yeah.
He's been playing for a long time. You're right, though. His leadership is phenomenal, and that's why he's our captain. He's been like that forever. He's never not been a leader, even when he wasn't captain and Tex was the captain. But it was always Rory number 2. So in terms of captaincy and leadership, he's one of the greatest. And we are much better for having him. But I can't see him getting into footy quite as much this year. It's going to really depend on how our young guns go, I reckon.
I think you're right. You're going to have to get to a point now where you go, all right, we've got people like Sloan, Walker. Walker, you're going to have to play because outside of Riley T, we don't really have much from a forwards perspective. So we're going to have to play Tex down there. And look, you know what? He was looking pretty Mickey Mouse, and he'll probably be great, Nick. Just having those extra few weeks off at the start of the year and that hunger to redeem himself. Paul Seedsman, over the age of 30. Luke Brown, 29. Rory Laird, 28. And then you go to Matt Crouch at 27. So what are we looking at there? 2, 4, 6, 7 players, and then the rest of your list is 26 or under. No wonder why you're the youngest list. So your top end maturity is just isn't there because they've either retired or left and gone to other clubs. Betts, Crouch, 2 examples that we've just thrown there out at the moment. So there is going to be a bit of pain because those young kids just not going to be able to do it all by themselves. But you get 50, 60, 70 games into them. You get the pain now. It's going to pay off big time in probably 2 or 3 years' time.
Yeah, absolutely. We sort of polled our little group here because of the 2 of us weren't going to be able to join tonight, and that was a theme of everybody's really was that sort of top end, like over 100 games talent just isn't there in our team. So we understand there's going to be some pain. Yeah,
but there's also when in there's pain, there's also some pleasure out of the pain. All right, you don't have to. There's not always the bad stuff. So, just from the preseason side of things, who's caught your eye? Like, ooh, didn't see this one coming. What's who has got you excited so far this preseason? Tell us about someone we don't know about.
We're all pretty much on the same page with this, Pets. One of the players that's really stood out to us is Ned McHenry.
Yes.
We've all loved him since he jumped on board, but he is just one of those aggressive attacking players that just plays with heart. And I think he's just taken it to the next level in this preseason. And I feel like he might have a bit of a breakout year this year, old Neddy. Yep. So really excited for him. The other one's Harry Schomburg. We're all big fans of Shonny. Again, I feel like he's going to be a bit of a surprise packet. I think he had a few people talking towards the end of last year because of some of his time in the midfield. But again, I think he'll just because he's had one more preseason in him, he's going to take it up to another level again.
Yeah,
and we're all obviously very excited to have Wayne Miller back. Playing after a long time with no footy. So hopefully he can stay injury-free and really make an impact.
There's a name that I just popped up on my screen that I don't know where he is at. And he looks like Tarzan. He could play like Tarzan, but sometimes you'd think, where's Jane? And that's not picking on Jane. I'm just going by the saying. But Darcy Fogarty, like, what's going on with him? Because he's 192 and 95. That's a lot of there's a lot of bigness right there. And I remember in his first couple of games, I was like, hello, Crows have got one here. He just hasn't kicked on.
No, loosened our leg arms. We actually have a fog watch segment on our podcast, and we usually just run the opener and then don't really say anything because he doesn't do much.
Living up to his name, Pep. Yeah. He's disappearing.
Can't see him.
No, look, he's had some fantastic games, but I absolutely can't disagree with anything you've just said. He hasn't taken that step to be the forward that he probably can be when you look at our big years. He's an absolute beast, but just doesn't play that way. We're watching thing in the group chat. I think I put it in the group chat last night. I just wish he played a little bit more like Norton because.
Well, do you know he's had the 11th most Brownlow votes for your current list?
Well, that's terrifying, isn't it?
It's only to show just how little we've had.
It's only one. It's only one, but it's the 11th most. So you know he's in fine company there. I just watch him and then I watch somebody else who played last year, and I remember it was a game at the MCG where we did Pantsu, and I was talking about the Demons here. But it was actually quite a quality game. But a guy by the name of Paul Seaman, I know he's pushing 30 years of age, but he was just playing it. He's almost got better as he's gone on. It's incredible. He's 132 games, so I'd say 140. So hopefully 150 by the end of the year. He's had his troubles throughout his career, but he doesn't look his age. Where people hitting 30, 31, you can notice that he just kept going, and he's from what I was seeing, foot skills, his capacity to run was outshining a lot of the younger ones as well too. So you've got to take a bit of courage. You've got to take a bit of, put on your seeds. It's not easy getting older and running around with the young bucks, but he's having a crack.
He's a really good example of one of the senior players who has bought into Nixie's plan, and it's really unfortunate. He's actually suffering from concussion problems at the moment, so he won't be playing for we actually don't know how long, and that's quite distressing.
How bad is it, Lauren? Because we like I said, another obviously being out of the state, we haven't heard much about it. How bad is his concussion, or what have you heard about it?
Well, it's kind of been a bit up and down, but it's apparently, he has a good training session and then kind of gets a bit flat the next day. Lingering symptoms, which, obviously they want to be very, very careful, especially because, he's an important player. He's just signed on for a 2-year contract extension.
He's training in sunnies.
He's training in sunglasses.
Oh, well, he's the Adelaide version of Mason Cox.
Yeah, I know. I said maybe they could start.
Hopefully, wouldn't it be awesome if Richmond got coxed? If we planted the seed and Richmond got done by him in the sunnies as well too. That's a shame because
it is a massive shame.
When did it? It must have happened either in the last couple of weeks or in training. It must have occurred.
It was in training. He copped a big knock, apparently.
It was last year. It's a while back.
Yeah, it was actually in December last year, just before Christmas. So they're going to take their time with seeds. And Nixie's pretty confident that he will come back into the side, but whether or not that will be in a couple of weeks or a month or 3 months, it's really hard to say. So, we've all got our fingers crossed because we would really hate to see this be a career-ending thing for him.
Oh, of course. Like I said, he's 30 years of age, comes third in the Malcolm Blight medal. Rory Laird takes it out, and I'll ask you about him in a moment. The piano man, Ben Keys, he came out at second. Then you had your Brodie Smith, Tom Doty, Taylor Skywalker, Jake Kelly. That's a disappointing one. Obviously more opportunity over Essendon. I don't know. You throw that one out. I'll ask you whether he just wanted to jump ship. You got the mobile phone man, Riley O'Brien, butts on seats, and then Sloan and McHenry. So it's a bit of old, bit of new, bit old school, bit of new school in your top 10 from last year. Jake Kelly, he looked like he was really slotting in nicely down the back line. Everything was. But then I actually found it surprising he jumped to Essendon.
Yeah, I'll take this one because Lauren will take another 15 minutes. Another one of her favourites.
Lauren, is there anyone who's not a favourite? And you can.
I love them all.
She's not biased.
I really do.
Who's bad? Who's bad Crow? Because obviously Lauren's good Crow on the on the podcast. Who's bad Crow?
You've probably got both sides sitting right here. Actually,
better the devil you know.
Okay, then fair enough. But
Jake Kelly, look, I don't think you'll find too many Crows fans who follow the team super closely who were too disappointed to see him go.
Oh, okay.
He's a whipping boy for the Crows.
Is he? I didn't realise that.
Loved him. He played a massive role in the season that we made the grand final. He'll be a very solid player for Essendon, but I think long term in our back line, he's got some issues with decision making. Quite often takes him quite a while to make a decision on where it's going to go, which, you know, in a back line that was under pressure a lot, it wasn't ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I've been through that. I've been through that. It's we've all had the hands in facing the hands type of players and the coach killers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody has the whipping boy. So maybe it was like, you know, maybe you and Lauren caused him to leave. Maybe that might be it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying.
I was sad to see him go, but
Oh, that's nice, Lauren.
You know, I understand they were. You know, like we were talking about, they're in a rebuild, and you know, some people are going to have to make room for the new era, and he was one of them. So, yeah.
All right, I've got to ask you about your crosstown rivals, Port Adelaide. All right, were you guys loving the fact that they choked in that prelim last year?
Absolutely.
What was going around in the Adelaide chat rooms last year? Prelim final night. Port Adelaide almost just had to turn up and play, and they had that, and they stunk it up a ripper. Well,
I mean,
tell us what you were feeling when that happened.
I honestly don't think any Adelaide fan was that surprised that happened because...
Don't worry, trust me. Speak to the Port Adelaide supporters, and they weren't surprised either.
No.
Yeah, they do have a bit of a reputation for shitting the bed when it's important. So,
oh yeah, there's a my co-host with the most, Jamie the J-Dog Wallis. He's a massive Port man. He's on Ken Watch. They all as well too. But and Vossi's gone. Vossi's over to the Blues.
Yep.
Just to let you know, at the time of this recording, they're already 20 points down.
Sad.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's sad, isn't it? It's really sad.
Although we hate Richmond equally, so it's it's not.
I can understand. Who do you hate more, Richmond or Port?
Actually, no, I'm going to say Richmond. I think I hate Richmond more.
It's easier to hate a team who's won 4 flags than it is a team who hasn't.
Yeah,
so.
I agree with that. If Dan was here, he would say absolutely Port. But
I mean, you know, going back SNFL days, I'm a massive hater. Port hater.
Yep, you're allowed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I support Norwood, so I've grown up hating Port forever.
Oh, Jesus. Good to hear. Good to hear. We like a bit of banter on this. All righty. So out of all the good-looking guys on the list, and you can both answer this, who's your breakout star for the year? So I know we mentioned a few names earlier on, but who's the name that maybe not many people have known about? And then when we come back at the end of the year and we play this, we'll go, tell you what, Sam and Lauren, were they on the ball when they dropped in their season preview? Insert name here was going to have a breakout season. Start with you, Lauren, because I'm tipping that you've been keeping your eye on them a lot more from a physical perspective than Sam.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's not always like that for me, Peps, you know.
Well, if it's not, you haven't really given me that impression over the last half an hour.
Put it this way, I'm more in Nixie's age bracket than any of the players on the team. So
that doesn't matter. It does not matter. Like I said, just because you might be on a diet doesn't mean you can't look at the menu.
Well, that's true. Tell my partner that. Apart from who we've already mentioned, McHenry, Schomburg, obviously Rochelle, big pick for us, and we're really hoping he has a huge debut year. The other person I'm going to say, other than Filthy, is Mitch Hinge, who we actually had a chat with this week on the podcast.
Mitch Hinge. Yeah, what a name. So you get Riley Thilthorpe, and then you get Mitch Hinge.
Mitch Hinge.
Jeez, Mitch Hingy. All right, the swinger. What is it about Hingy that you've...
Yeah, round 1 last year, he came on as the med sub during the Geelong game and dislocated his shoulder twice. Came back on after the first one, did it again, came off, had a year off, had surgery, and during the preseason, he's basically taken the season role on the wing instead of in the back. And he's kicked a few goals, and, he's just looking really good. And I feel like if he keeps it up and doesn't get injured, he may be the one to have his breakout year this year.
And he'd be hungry too, because he came through the rookie list, picked 20 in 2016. So he has that desire. It's not just, given to him. Here's a couple of years. He has to scratch and bite and get everything to get on that list, which he has. He's not a rookie anymore. He's on the list. He's on the list. That's awesome. They're the ones that are going to take your club really far. It'd be kind of cool to have a look at your rookies and then have a look at maybe your top 10s and see who's had better careers over the last 10 years. I'd be kind of interested, not just you, but all clubs, just to sort of see how have they worked out. Because I know from my club, I think a lot of the top 10s that we picked didn't do anything, and a lot of our rookies have excelled.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to sort of see on yours. Similar for you as well too. Who about you, Sam? Who are you a little bit looking forward to?
I think probably the obvious one is Schoenberg through the midfield. I think he's going to take a fairly massive role in the midfield this year. Centre bounce attendances are going to go up. If it wasn't him, I'd probably go with Butts down back. I think he'll become a lot more of a household name. He held up our defence last year, hoping that he won't be under so much pressure this year, which would be nice.
Well, the Schoenberg, he's almost had 2 full seasons too, hasn't he? So that's almost like when he first started, he's been virtually in the team, hasn't been able to drop out. 8 games, and then played all 22 last year as well too.
Yeah.
So he's now, that 30-game window, he really feels comfortable. He's part of the team. He can take it to that next step. And he's a young buck as well too, so you can't ask for much more than that. And what a name. Could you imagine if Bruce was still going? Schoenberg. Show me Schoenberg. Schoenberg. It's just got Bruce written all over it. Now, unfortunately, somebody, even though we all love Nixie, he is going to be tapping somebody on the shoulder at the end of the year and go and say, I think we might have to just put you in the pasture and all the best pasture and all the best with your future endeavours. Who's that going to be? I'll start with you this one, Sam. Who's done?
Yeah. Are we talking old players or are we talking new players?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Who do you think that, look, if they don't do something this year, they could be gone?
I think we've got a few forwards floating around, a few small forwards that are going to be struggling to make the list at the end of the year.
Okay.
I have to admit, I don't know the exact contract statuses, but we've got a couple that I think once the team's up and rolling, that I'd be reasonably disappointed if they were still part of the grand plan, if that makes sense. So names like Shane McAdam and Rowie, what's his name? Murphy was the other one I had in my mind. So they're all quite small forwards, all aren't that quick. They're all not all going to fit in the side. So, and now that Rochelle's there, it's
like, when you talk about Rochelle, it's like when I spoke to the Collingwood guys, and the Collingwood guys, I said, what do you want for the end of the year? He goes, we just want 21 Nick Dacosses and a Pendlebury. That's all he wants. If you want 21 Rochelle's and insert another name here, please be my guest. Be my guest. What about you, Lauren? If Sam's given from maybe the rookie perspective or the younger blokes who may not be able to cut it, and that's no fault of their own. It's just sometimes they're just not able to take that next step. Who do you think has taken that step but is just pretty much on their last legs and may need to finish up either voluntarily or told and tiered?
Oh, that's a tough one, Pets.
Everything's not easy. Everybody hates this question, but it's exactly the same as who's going to flourish, just the opposite end of the scale. You're not cutting them. Nixie is.
I feel like
Frampton.
Probably maybe Frampton or Chase Jones even. Like Jones actually had a pretty good year in the back half last year. He his role got switched up. He was drafted as a midfielder, and Nixie put him at half back, and he didn't have a bad season, but I feel like his time could be ticking if he doesn't really amp it up.
Yeah, he's in an interesting spot, isn't he? He's going to be 20. He'll still be 25 by the end of the season.
Yeah, he's super young, and
but he's only on 18 games, so he hasn't been able to cement his spot. And you think that, well, if you're in the bottom team and you can't cement your spot.
That's it. And he was the hot draft pick at the time and hasn't really lived up to that. So, we're all behind him. We all want him to succeed. But
of course we do.
He will. The other one is Haitley, who we drafted from GWS. Hasn't actually played a game of AFL with the Crows, I don't think.
No.
Has he played one, maybe?
Yeah, he's played a couple, I think, yeah.
He's just been kind of stuck in the sample for ages. Oh, he's played 3 games. Thanks for getting those stats up, mate.
You're welcome. Yeah, 3. He's had 3.
He's been stuck in the 2s for quite some time, and he hasn't been playing badly in the 2s, but he just can't seem to crack into the 22. So, yeah, not sure how he's going to go.
I think this question is just hard for us to answer, just purely down to what we've been saying. Our list structure is the players that are older, if they're not considered in our best 22 at the end of the year, it's going to be a tough end of the year, I think.
But that's the thing. Like, I know with older clubs, last legs, just can't cut it. He's fifth in line, etc. But when you're not going well, you want to see these kids play. You can't make a judgment call on what you've seen because you just haven't seen enough.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an opposite. It's an opposite to a team like Geelong, etc. They're so old; they're going to be easy to figure out who there's going to be finishing up over the next number of years. Yeah. But if you ask me who their most exciting kids are, you probably go, "I've got no idea who my exciting," because we've never seen them.
Yeah,
when our age bracket that we're aiming for is mid-30s, if we got to pick somebody in early 20s, they're not going to get a game for 14 years.
Yeah,
they only get a game when they play well, when they turn 30. That's how it works at Geelong.
Sounds like the 2017 era of the Crows, really, doesn't it?
Oh, hey, listen. You had the power stance, and no one can or will take that from you ever.
I thought it was hot.
No one would be brave.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Oh, I understand everything behind it, and it worked. It worked for a number of weeks. It just didn't work the
day that mattered.
Yeah.
The day that mattered. Yeah. All right. So if we now, what's the paper over there? What's the Adelaide paper? Is it the Adelaide Times? The Advocate. All right, the Advertiser. It's at the end of round 23. I'm opening up the back of the Advertiser, and I'm looking in there. Lauren and Sam, here we crow. Headline, what's your headline to surmise the potential of the 2022 season?
Crows woes.
Oh,
Exactly.
there we go. See, a proper headline.
Yeah, I know.
When I ask for a headline, that's what I want. Crows woes. All right? Not, the demons will win, or, give me a headline. That's what a headline is.
Yeah,
so thank you very much for actually getting the concept.
I've heard
some other ones I've dealt with. I just shook.
Yeah. I've heard some of your other guests, and they just give you a big old.
They give me 20 words. They take it too literally. Like
that's enough.
Crows. So you're not going to get this on the Crowcast, people. You're not going to get that. They'll go in analytics. The Crows will be 15-7. No, it doesn't
start
work.
A rivalry.
No, I won't start a rivalry. You will start a rivalry. All right. Now, it's time to put, as I would say to my guests, the agates on the line. It'd be difficult there for yourself, Lauren. So we'll just put take our minds off our own team, and we're going to focus on the rest of the league here. Who's going to be the 2022 Premier? And you can give your own team if you desire. I have no issue about you being biased. Lauren just says no. But you can pick, obviously, individually as well too. Whoever you think. Go for it.
After last night, I can't say anything other than Melbourne.
Okay.
Well, first game of round 1, you're already picking it. Jeez, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
going by that, you should have won it last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Exactly. I reckon Brisbane might get up. I would love to see Brisbane get up. And, I hope for that.
Okay. Lauren, you can leave. Sam, we'll finish this with you. No, they are looking cherry ripe, but they're going to have an interesting game this week, aren't they? Port versus Brisbane, round 1. Ooh, potential prelim final. We're thinking really down the tracks here, so anything can happen. But those two teams, I can tell you, and you've probably listened, they are a genuine consensus among most people that they're probably the two that are going to come up. Western Bulldogs have been thrown up. Richmond have been thrown up as well. It's going to be interesting to sort of see who does take it out. But as well as that, somebody has to win the Coleman medal. Somebody has to kick the most goals in the league. Now, we know it was Mackay last year. Who do you think it's going to be this year? I'm going to start with you, Lauren.
I'm going Rochelle.
Rochelle.
He's kicking 10 on debut, and that's what's happening. So.
I love it. I love it. Just kicking 10 on debut. Why not? Why not?
I'm like,
Why not?
Honestly, like that's what he's known for, kicking the goals, and I feel like he could do it. His Texas ain't going to get a chance because he's missing 3 games. That is, unless he comes out absolutely screaming. But yeah, maybe Rochelle, maybe Ben Brown. I don't know.
Oi. Hey, he was looking mighty fine, I will say, last night.
He was really good last night.
He was clunking. Yeah. He could have had 5. Yeah, could have had 5.
Absolutely.
I don't understand why he was going around the body. He's got what are they called? A pre-kicking routine longer than runway 1 at Melbourne Airport. He should be just you.
Jenkins.
Oh, Jenko. Hey, Jenko loves the greyhound tips.
In the hand.
Oh, loves the dish lickers. Loves it. Oh. What about you, Sam? Who are you picking?
He's a big trots fan, isn't he? Yeah.
Oh, he loves the trots. He loves everything around the horse race. He's always on the radio over here. I don't know if he's over there. Yeah. He's always over here.
No, we're off him now.
Yeah.
We're off him now.
I put a bet on before the season, and I put
gamble responsibly.
Of course. Yep. I put Harry Mackay in there, so I think it's going to be him.
Reckon he's going to go B2B. Interesting.
B2B. Yeah.
That's very familiar with, I must say, with both of those. Brownlow, who's going to be taking Charlie home at the end of the year? And then I have another question, which you may have heard on a couple of the other previews as well too. But who's going to take Charlie home at the end of the year?
Yeah.
I reckon Clayton Oliver.
Ooh, yep.
We're about to blow smoke up bloody Peps' ass here because I'm going to say Petraka. So.
And I can tell you now, none of them will because they'll just steal votes off each other. Yeah, that's the only problem.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's the problem, and it happened last year, unfortunately. But so I'm a massive advocate of you've got to be the best player in the worst team, and that was Ollie Wines to a degree last year. Who was going to take votes off Wines? Nobody. Yep. So my tip this year would be Jack Steele. He's secure to win enough games. The only one who's going to dominate will be him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you saw what he did last year. Rightio. Now, the question I've been throwing out is the Coaches Award / MVP, which is voted on by the players, more prestigious than the Brownlow?
100%.
Yeah, you're saying that now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
What's your reasoning behind it?
I just don't understand why we give the job to voting on the best player in the AFL to the umpires. I can't work it out. I've never been able to work it out. The coaches know exactly who's torn them to bits. So I just think that just makes sense.
It makes sense now with all the vision and so forth that they go through. I think it was just one of those things that, when the game starts and Brownlow first comes in, probably reckon over the last 25 years, times have moved on from then. Times have changed as well too. Yeah. I think you have to go back as far as I think we did this a few weeks ago, where Steins and Scott Wine are the last two sort of non-traditional midfielders to win it.
Yeah.
So that's not right. Yeah. No. That's not right. It is a midfielders award. So really, it's like the Anzac Day medal.
Yeah.
Or the Showdown medal. Only certain people can get it.
Yeah.
So don't make more of it than it is.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
What about you, Lauren? Do you agree, disagree?
Oh, look, I don't really pay attention to these kind of things, to be honest, Pep, because the Crows never get anywhere near any of this stuff. So, but, I think what Sam says definitely has merit. But I guess when you're talking on the other side of the coin, which Brownlow is the best and fairest, and who is better to choose who is the fairest player than the umpires?
True. I just think, though, the fairest aspect of it, with all the cameras, with everything these days, and for what you can get pinged for, so I do agree with the fairest. But if somebody said, look, we're going to drop the fairest, and if you just poll the most votes during the season, you win it, I wouldn't have an issue with that as well.
I do agree that I do not like that it is generally midfielders that get it because, obviously they're going to get more of the ball in general. They're in the midfield. I think there's a lot of standout players in other areas that should be recognised. So, yeah.
How can a Coleman medalist hardly poll any votes like he did last year? I'll never understand. I'll never get it. But that's just the way the umpires look at me. Don't talk to me. Stand and just nominate the two people joining me tonight. Rightio. So there you go. Listeners, I tell you what, if you have not subscribed to Here We Crow with Sam, with Lauren, and the two co-hosts who could not join us. What are their names again, Lauren?
Dan and Ben.
Dan's got COVID or Ben's got COVID?
Dan has COVID. Ben has children. So
I've got kids, and that's why I've got a podcast. So what have you got in store for your listeners this year? I want to hear about what have you got in store for them? What are you looking forward to? Just give us the four, and you can go competition rules, which is 25 words or less, if you like.
What do we have in store, Sam? I don't think we even know.
Nah, look,
Awesome.
We're every week.
we're literally 9 episodes in to our podcast in total. So, it's ever evolving. We have a whole bunch of segments that we've been dreaming up over the last couple of years and getting those into effect, which has been fun. We've had a fair few players on already. We got really behind the women's team, which was good.
Oh, awesome.
Good. We were obviously in the finals of that. We're loving it. It's been fun, but it's going to evolve.
You know, the best thing, and I've said this on most of these, is the best thing about podcasting and talking about our great game is that I get to chat with awesome people like you two about a sport that we love, totally different states. And I can't thank you enough for that. And if you're going to show that passion like you just described then, Sam, Here We Crow is going to go off like Tony Modger on footy trips. Rightio. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, there is your 2022 Adelaide Crows Adelaide Crows season preview. Look, I do think it is going to be a challenge for you. I did pick you to finish last, but there is a bad last and there is a development last. And I think that you could be in a development last where you're going to be actually having a smile on your face, seeing that brightness, because that brightness will shine one day to where the glow is coming off the Premiership Cup, and it hopefully will come your way. So, Sam, Lauren, from the Here We Crow podcast, I have one question and one question only, and this is it to finish it off. How do you want your footy?
Lace out.
Oh,
You're supposed to say it with me, Sam.
it's all right. You're 9 episodes in. You just haven't got it yet. It's all right.
I gave him the 1, 2, 3.
We gave him the 1, 2, 3. Have a great night, listeners. The Crows, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right.
Thanks, Pets.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us on.
My pleasure. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of Place Out. Head over to iTunes and Spotify to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. And remember, join us every single Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, on our Facebook page with yours truly, Christopher Pepper, and the co-host with the most, Jamie Wallis, giving you your footy how you want it. Place out.